guys, welcome back to the channel. As I said on one of the last videos, I was going to do a quick update video after we've done about 50 miles on the scooters now. It's got to be around that, hasn't it? Last ride was about 17 miles.
Yeah.
And where we are, there's a lot of hills. So a few bits that I've done to mine. To start with, I've lifted it quite a bit, to be fair, because I wanted the extra height for when I'm jumping off of curbs and messing about on it. So I made some stainless steel razors for the back, which are nice and strong, and it puts that shock in a nice position to the swing arm. It also just gives it that nice stance. On the front, I ended up moving the headset down because when they'd actually made the scooter, they'd put one of these, well, they're like a nut and bolt that goes through there, but the bottom one, they'd rounded the bolt when they put it through. So I've moved that all down, re-drilled it and put a nice big bolt in there so there's no play in it and everything holds nice. I've used one of my old Hope spacers at the bottom, which is only 5mm, because you don't want to take too much from the fork top, because that comes into there, and if you do take too much out of it, you end up with too much bend in this actual stem itself. I've moved up the headlight, so that's in a better position, because when it was down there it was just too low. We also had to take out the brake cable, which was running down the stem post itself, but it was wearing these cables excessively, and it was also breaking when you turned hard to one side. So on both the scooters I've took these out and moved them and just repositioned them, and you can also see there that I've changed the handlebars to a carbon fibre set, because the play in the standard handlebars was just absolutely driving me insane. Stuff like that really does get to me. And also that was only coming out, I think it's about 35mm, so I've changed that to 100mm, which gives me just a little bit more length on the actual deck itself. I did find when I was standing on it before with the standard stem post on there, that I was having my foot on the rear mudguard all the time. So thanks to my brother, who sent me out some nice carbon fibre bars and a stem, which happened to be perfect for what I needed, I've took that out to 100mm now, which just gives me that little bit extra. And it's also made all of that nice and rigid. There's no movement on there anymore. What else have we done? Oh yeah, the cover nut. There's a cover for the nut that locates the forks there. That was vibrating on both scooters, and another thing that was just doing me Sweden. So I ended up drilling it, tapping it, and just putting a little bolt through there, so none of that actually moves. There's no noise from anything anymore. On one of the last videos I did about the brakes, where the Packers was too far standing the brake disc, so you could see that it was only actually contacting half the disc, but if you look at those now, you can see that that's contacting the whole of the disc, and it's exactly the same on the rear. So we're getting all of that braking, and it's not wearing the pads in a funny position. Also, the back light when I bought these was pointing straight up in the air, so I've ended up making brackets for both of them, so the light actually points out, so you can see the light and the indicators from the back of it. What else have we done to it so far? Oh Christ, the shunt. When I went into the shunts, into the speed controller, I noticed there was a blob of solder on one of the sides, and it played on my brain for a little while. And where was that? Mine, obviously with my extra weight, weren't quite as good on the hills as yours, was it?
No.
So I went back inside of that speed controller and just had a look to see if those two tins on the shunts was good. One side was tinned really well, and the other side turned out to be more or less a blob of solder that was sat in between the two shunts. So I've had to take that blob back out again, and I've ended up tinning probably 40% across the two shunts, tinning those together, and it's give it a nice bit more torque. So both scooters now are both about the same with the extra weight on there. I did check the traces that go back up to the fets. They seem quite substantial. Most of the soldering on the board, that all seems all okay. The fets, everything all seems to have coped with the extra power. We've been out and tested it. But yeah, this is just a quick update video of the bits and bobs that we've had to do. I've ended up doing the same on your scooter as well. If you look at the two scooters, you can see that one's, well, it's a hell of a lot lower, which is obviously perfect for your little legs.
Yeah, I didn't want mine lifting.
No. But the same again on yours. I've moved that headlight up, I've tapped that little cover and put a bolt in it. I know it doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing, but I've took that brake cable out and ran that down the tube because otherwise every time you was turning, that was activating the brake, and you can see where it was wearing and causing these cables to wear at the same time. But everything now, when you turn it, it's just not pulling, because that cable for the brake's so rigid, it was causing those to wear on this side. So now you can actually get full lock without it being a problem. It's not contacting on anything. I removed the LED lights off of mine, but I did the same on yours that I did on mine. I packed each side of the battery so it can't move and the battery can't sit on those nuts. I also put some little rubber pads just underneath the front of the deck, so when you fold it, it's not sat onto the steel and wearing it off, otherwise the paint's going to come off and that's just going to go rusty. I've done the backlight on yours as well, and I've also repositioned the brakes so all the brakes sit perfectly well on there. You're just waiting on a new set of handlebars coming.
Yes.
I don't think you're extending the stem on yours, are you?
No, I don't need the length. I've only got small arms.
Yeah, so yours is going to stay with the same size stem, same length, but just a new set of bars, because
They're very rickety, aren't they?
Yeah, stuff like that. It always makes you think you're looking for problems on it, looking to find problems, and there ain't no problems there. It's just those stupid bars. What else have we done on it? Oh, crash! Yeah, back to the shunts and the tracers. That shunt mod that I've done on there, tinning up 40% of the two, that's made it quite nice. But yet again, I'm still wanting more and thinking, do I go back in there, put in the wire bridges across the tracers back to the FETs, and do I put an extra shunt in there, which would take it from, I think these run at 21 amps, and if I put the extra shunt in there, it would take it just over to 30 amps. It's quite easy to do.
You can't leave anything alone.
I can't, no, it plays on my brain all the time. But to be fair, we've only done 50 miles on them. Everything's been tightened down, nothing's come loose on them. But I've seen on a few of the other posts on one of the electric scooter forums, people are complaining about nuts and bolts and things coming loose. Which I would say, if you're putting these things back together and you are getting these bolts coming loose again, just get yourself a little bit of Loctite. You can either get the blue or the red. I've noticed on most of these that they're put together with blue, which is not quite as strong as the red. So if you get yourself a little bit of blue Loctite and just put a dab on the bolts before you put everything back together, it will stop everything vibrating loose. I have been back inside of it again since I repacked the battery, which is packed now with some nice foam cushioning just to stop it being able to move and vibrate onto anything. The controller is sat on foam pads and there's a foam pad at the back of it, so if there is any vibration, that's not going to be contacting the side. But yet again, doing the mods on there, because I was going to just put a different speed controller on it, but I'll probably just wait until this one blows up first. But the other thought was just to stick a small fan just on top of the actual speed controller itself, just to cool it. But as I was saying, we've done quite a few big hills and things like that. The temperature of the motor's staying right. From what I can feel inside at the bottom, I can't feel any excess heat coming from the speed controller, so that all seems to be coping quite well. The position of the lights is a hell of a lot better, and all this cabling now, that's all running, that's a lot better. I had to extend the stand as well, obviously, when I did the lift on this, which I think you're going to struggle to see, but I did just extend it. So that all works well. Drop the sweet wrappers now. You think of anything else that I've done?
Oh, we cut off so we can get into the board a lot better.
Oh yeah, just cut the grip tape on those concealed bolts there, just so when I want to get into it I can without having to peel that grip tape back. That was the other thing that we're going to do. We're going to order some grip tape as well, aren't we? Skateboard grip tape.
Yes.
Because we've noticed when you're standing on these boards all the time, it is just taking the paint off and scratching the top of it. So we're going to order some new skateboard grip tape, peel off this old one and just put a new one on there that covers the whole of the top board. And I would like to make up just a little razor with a foot plate on it, so when I stand on it I can actually put my foot there. Yeah, so doing the shunt mod on it, it's not going to give you any more top speed, but it will give you that extra torque to get up there. So if I lift the back wheel off the ground on this scooter and hit the throttle, wide open throttle with no resistance on that back wheel, it does 56 miles an hour. So adding that extra torque will give it the chance of actually getting up to that top speed. Not that I'd ever want to go that fast on it. Not that it don't feel safe, it does feel safe and rigid. I think one of the other problems that I wanted to mention as well, I've seen quite a few people saying about the charger. They plug in the charger and the light's going on green, and then they're actually plugging it into the scooter and the light's staying green. If you are getting that problem, I think one of the first places I'd want to check is if you lift the deck off, between the back of this charge port and where it goes into the battery, there is an inline fuse, which I think on this scooter is 7.5 amps. So if you are getting that, somebody may have owned the scooter before you, or you might have been, if you plug the charger into the scooter first, obviously the battery of the scooter is going to try and energize the charge pack, so you'll get an arc as you plug it in. What you need to do first is plug it into the power outlet and then plug it into the scooter, because when you plug it into the power outlet, that's going to energize the charger before it gets plugged into the scooter, and it's going to stop it arcing. So if people have been plugging them into the scooter first, you do risk blowing that inline fuse. I think I've covered more or less everything there that I wanted to say. I'm not sure if these videos are any use to anybody, but if they are of use to you, then please give us a like, subscribe, and you're welcome to leave any comments.
And hit that notification bell.
Yeah, hit that as well. It'd just be nice, because mainly I've done a few electric bikes. I do quite a bit of electrical work, but mainly on boats. So messing about the scooters is quite a new thing to me, but obviously, me being me, I can't leave them alone and have to mess about and have a play with them. So if you do find it interesting, or if there are any bits that help you, please let us know. Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.